Call the order of the City Council work session for Monday, October the 21st, 6 o'clock. Have a secretary take roll, please.
Council President Schilling.
Here.
Councilor Adams.
Here.
Councilor Barrientos.
Here.
Councilor Briggs.
Here.
Councilor Jantz.
Here.
Councilor Shane.
Here.
Councilors Collins, Fitzgerald, and Verdenark.
Thank you. First thing on the agenda is the Parks and Recreation Annual Update.
We will turn the time over to Jennifer Ward, our Administrative Services Manager.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, councilors, mayor. As Assistant City Manager Ganya just said, I'm the Administrative Services Manager for the city. So Administrative Services falls under your Public Works Department, and you'll be getting the full annual update on the rest of Public Works at your next meeting from Public Works Director Gary Marks. But Parks and Aquatics are two of the divisions that fall under my supervision, and they are part of our Public Works Department, but are a little bit different than like streets or water, other things that you might traditionally associate with Public Works. So it kind of makes sense to talk to you about them a little bit separately than the other divisions. And when I was going through this, I realized that the animations are a little off, so just, stick with me and we'll get through it. So our Parks Division maintains 12 parks, with more on the way, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. The Rickreall Creek Trail System, 26 city-owned parcels and open spaces. So those are patches of land of various sizes that the city owns and maintains, but hasn't necessarily developed at this point. You are probably familiar with at least one and probably more of our parks, Dallas City Park and Barberry Park. I'll just say, and they come in all shapes and sizes. So Barberry Park is what we would call just a pocket park. It just takes up that little corner there. And then Dallas City Park is 40 acres. So all shapes and sizes. Birch Park, Central Bark, which is our only dog park in the city. Delbert Fredericks Memorial Park, Gala Park, Kingsborough Park, Roger Jordan Community Park. Those are two of our large parks. Rotary Park, Sergeant Ian Tawney Memorial Park, our only downtown park.
Does that 40 acres include the Arboretum?
It does,
So that's part of it.
yes. Arboretum is 7 acres. Walnut Park, which is managed as a natural area. Twin Parks, which is another small pocket park in a neighborhood that was developed a couple of years ago. We call it Twin Parks because it exists on either side of the road, so they are mirror images of each other. And as was mentioned by Councilor Shane, the Delbert Hunter Arboretum is part of City Park, 7 acres. The Arboretum is really cool for a lot of reasons. It's devoted to the preservation and cultivation of native plants and tree species, so that are native to our area. The maintenance of it is almost completely volunteer through the Friends of the Delbert Hunter Arboretum. And so we provide support as needed, but they really just take care of those beautiful 7 acres for us. Rickreall Creek Trail is part of our park system. And not all of our parks have all of these amenities, of course, but if you come to our parks, there's just no shortage of things to do. We really offer a lot of options for recreation and pet waste. We have a great team. A new hire this year is our Parks Maintenance Supervisor, Owen Barth. He was an internal hire. He had worked on our crew for about 3 years. And when we had the opening for a new supervisor, he applied and doing awesome. He's really got a vision for how he wants the parks to be. He runs a tight ship, and he's just a real pleasure to work with. And we have 2 other full-time employees, Dusty and Steve. We have a part-time position, which we've just recently filled. So that will fill us out. And then Josh Kibbe is our seasonal worker and helps us out on the weekends. So I'd just like to show you some of the things that we've been about for the past year, since the last time I came before you. You will see that this past year has been very heavy in programming. And then when we look ahead to the future, to the year ahead of us, you will see very heavy on capital projects and building. So in October, we partnered with the Polk Soil and Water Conservation District on, actually, there were 3 different things we partnered with them in the fall. 2 in October. One is their native plant sale, which they held at the Arboretum. And then also at the Arboretum, they invited, we have a patch of camas there, which is a plant traditionally used by the native peoples of our valley. And so they invited the botanist from the Grand Ronde tribe to come and give a presentation about the traditional uses of the camas plant, some of the natural history of the camas plant, and then we went and did an actual dig. So that kind of thinned our plot there in the Arboretum, which is a good thing, and gave people bulbs of this native plant to be able to plant in their own homes. So that was pretty fun. Yes?
About the native plant sale, just as a matter of curiosity, did any of the plants in that sale come from our Arboretum?
No, we do not cultivate plants for sale necessarily from our Arboretum, I guess, and we didn't sell the camas bulbs, but that is the first time that I know of that we've actually made plant material from the Arboretum available to the public for planting elsewhere.
Just wondered.
Good question, thank you. We partnered with them again on the Rick Rial Creek Symposium. So we had 50 people attending, learning about all things Rick Rial Creek. So the history of it, like its historical uses with the development of the city, its recreational uses, its use as our water source, a lot of different speakers. And then we went out and looked at the riparians. We walked along the trail and looked at the riparian zone and some of the native plants and trees that grow along Rick Rial Creek. So we had the symposium at the Aquatic Center and then got out to the trail right behind it. In March, we partnered with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to offer winter wildlife field days. This is offered throughout the valley and gives kids and families an opportunity to come do different hands-on projects right as we're getting through the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So this was our first time hosting it, and that was really fun. I hope we'll get to do it again. In April, we had our annual Arbor Day celebration. We had some work crews out. They were removing ivy. You can see them there on the right. In the middle, we did some tree plantings along Forestry Creek. We had an activity in the Arboretum. We offered 2 with a grant. We were able to offer 2 sessions of forest bathing, which does not involve any getting into the water, but is a meditative and experiential approach to being in the forest, and it's led by a certified therapist, and that was really pretty cool and well received. And then we offered a variety of summer recreational programs. Some of these were what I call pop-up programs, just for a few hours on a Saturday, totally free, come for a couple of hours. That was our sidewalk chalk art. You can see that down in the middle. We did that over at the Bank of America building, which is no more. So we just went to town on the sidewalk and the parking lot there before it got demolished. For the first time, we offered summer day camps. We had camps for pickleball, tennis, and then a sports sampler, so there were different sports to do. We hosted breakfast in the park, art in the park, and the car show as part of Dallas Days. And in August, on one of our farmers market Saturdays, we offered ping pong on the plaza. Oops, and you can see it didn't, oh yeah, there we go, Sounds of Summer. So this was our annual concert series. Really good attendance this year, the best, this is my 3rd year doing it, the best I've seen and approaching pre-COVID levels, so really great. So coming up, hopefully you all received invitations to the ribbon cutting for our newly restored Japanese garden, and that will be November 2nd at 10 a.m. there at the garden. I hope you'll be able to attend. These are the other projects that we have coming up in the year ahead. We'll be constructing John Barnard Park, so we'll be putting that out for bid in December.
Where is that?
That is on the corner of Academy and Fur Villa, 2.5 acres. Yep. Some really neat amenities there, some that we don't have anywhere else in the city. We will also finish construction of the Fur Villa section of Rickreall Creek Trail. We've constructed the eastern side already. We'll construct the western side. So that's a portion of the trail that extends from Fur Villa to the city limits at the golf course. We will construct Lone Oak Park, which is another pocket park up in the northwestern part of Denton in Perkins Court. We will construct the new pickleball courts at City Park. We will replace the roof on the Siebert Fredrickson shelter in City Park. And we have already replaced the Parks Ranger from 2000. It was actually, depends on which, I've seen records for 1999 or 2000. Either way, it was time for it.
Is that the one I saw last month? It was purchased last month.
Yes. And the one that we replaced it with, this is pretty cool, we got it with the plow package. So now we have a pickup truck that we can use on our trails and parking lots, but also support the streets plowing when the weather's bad. So we're excited about that. Yeah. And then we also have a grant to rebuild the paths on either side of Forestry Creek in City Park. So those are the paths that lead to and from. They will connect the Japanese garden with the rest of the trails in the park. So pretty fun stuff coming up. It's going to be a busy year.
I do have a question.
Yes.
What is the history of our main park? People ask me, how old is it? How did they get established? Do you have any information on that?
Not tons, being a newcomer to Dallas myself. You know, it did come in parts because we have the new side and the old side. Anybody who has been here longer and knows more is happy to have you jump
I
in.
know it's always been there.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the room has been here longer than the mayor. Certainly not his family.
I can tell you later. Mayor.
50s,
It predates that.
yeah.
We have property records of the city acquiring the old section of the park in the 1800s.
I wasn't here that day.
No.
Barely.
I can show it to you sometime, Mayor. I have it.
So Jennifer, I've got a question. On the looking ahead slide, are all of those planned for this next year?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing in your spare time?
I've got a great team. Will they all be completed by the end of the fiscal year? Likely not, but good part of them.
Well, I noticed that most of your 3 or 4 staff are worker people out in the field. Who's handling all of the going out to bid, writing the RFAs and all that stuff? Is that you?
Right. So there are a couple of the back end part.
Yeah.
So I rely heavily on Parks Work Support Services. So Michael Pierce is our inspector and project manager, and so he helps me a lot. And Hannah, our new procurement specialist, they help a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Procurement and contracting side. And then Michael often serves as the project manager once these things get underway. The funding side of thing, a lot of these are grant supported. I do the majority of the grant writing.
It's just a lot of contracts I can see to administer. I just hope we have the staff to do that.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of paperwork.
Yeah. Let us know,
Yes?
or let Brian know.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Mayor, if I could just go back to yours. So one thing that we are, and I think you're aware of this, is, or maybe not, but we are working to get historic signs, kind of like the ones that we have outside. And one of those is for Mr. Brandvold, and will be erected in the Brandvold side of the city park. And that will have information about the park and about Mr. Brandvold as well. So a little more information coming. Yeah.
Not to beat a dead horse, but I've got a curiosity itch I have to scratch. So we acquired the old part of the park in the 19th century. Did we acquire the Brambold side on Harold's watch while he was city manager, or is it older than that?
On who's?
The park is named after
Howard.
Howard. I'm sorry, I said Harold, and Howard, sorry.
It was named after he left.
So it was acquired before he became city manager?
I don't know if that's acquired is a big name because it means we did something to, but it's always been part of the park. It just was never cleaned up or developed. Now all of a sudden it's got a name.
Oh, I see. So it was probably part of the original park, but it just wasn't separated by being named after it. Got it.
That makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Other questions related to parks? Let's talk aquatics. Okay. Probably familiar with our Dallas Aquatic Center, which opened in 2000. Our aquatic center is pretty cool because it has 5 indoor pools. Our leisure pool, which is just for fun play, 6-lane lap pool, the therapy pool, which is kept at a warmer temperature than the other pools for therapy, the wading pool for kids, and then of course our spa, which is kept really nice and warm. We offer annual memberships for families, adults, seniors, youth, and a 2-person pass. So no matter what your configuration, there's a membership that's right for you. Our water aerobics classes, of which we offer quite a few different types, are included in that annual pass. And if you don't want a year-round pass, you can also get a 6-month membership. We offer group and private swim lessons, birthday party and event room rentals. You can also rent the entire facility. We regularly host 3 swim teams. So we have a club swim team, the Blue Dragons, that utilize the Aquatic Center year-round. And then during the high school swim season, Dallas High School and Central High School practice and have their meets at our Aquatic Center. Interesting development in the past month is that Osborne Aquatic Center in Corvallis is closed indefinitely due to structural issues with their roof. And so they have indoor and outdoor pools, none of that is available for use. And so we've been able to absorb some of that need. Their club swim team is practicing at our facility. We were able to fit them in, and their high school swim team is hosting 1 or 2 of their meets at our pool. In addition, we've also started to get applications from instructors and lifeguards that no longer have a job in Corvallis, and we're trying to fit them into our schedule as well.
You said that they were closed indefinitely. That sounds pretty serious.
It's pretty serious. The structural integrity of their roof is not.
Ouch.
Yeah. We feel very badly for them, actually. So we really are trying to help them where we can. We also offer contract service to insurance companies. So many people have insurance plans that have wellness benefits offered through those insurance plans, and we honor those at the Aquatic Center. Oh, and I just want to say, so one of my themes on this report is how we're doing compared to pre-COVID, because it really has taken us a long time to get up to par, or to get up to those levels, and in most circumstances we're there. So it's been a really great year to see us finally spring back after the impacts of COVID. So we have 600 members that are utilizing this insurance benefit at the Aquatic Center, and that's 100 more than last year. Gretchen Knoll is our aquatic supervisor. She is, excuse the puns, unsinkable and keeps the place afloat.
Yeah, it's not the only one. There's one on the next slide, too.
Yes, there is.
Of course.
But really, it is such a dynamic place, and she just keeps it running as smoothly as as it can be. She's ably assisted by Kylie Weaver, our lifeguard. We have a part-time maintenance repair tech, Ike Lee. Our team is very fluid.
Cute.
Thank you. Actually, I think Gretchen came up with that one. And you'll see the number, it does change a lot. And the reason for this is because we are primarily staffed by teenagers and young adults, and they have very dynamic and fluid lives and life circumstances. Right now, as of the preparing of this presentation, we have 24 lifeguards. And the numbers in parentheses are the numbers that I reported to you last year. So you can see how much we've been able to beef
That's good
up
to
our
see.
staffing. And that's really important because when we beef up our staffing, then we're able to increase our offerings, right? On top of our swim lessons, offer more rec swims, be able to staff those facility rentals and those parties.
More of everything.
More of everything. Okay, so we have 16 swim lesson instructors. Last year we had 5 water aerobics instructors. That's holding steady. And we have 6 lead guards. And that's important because because that just really, frankly, makes life bearable for Gretchen and for Kylie. If we don't have a lead guard there to lead the lifeguard staff, then they have to be there. And in the past 2 years, coming out of COVID, they've worked some very early mornings, some very late nights, and a lot of weekends. So I'm very glad for that. And then we have 8 front desk attendants, which also makes have somebody there to help customers as they come in, which was not always the case last year. 2 lifeguard instructors. Last year we had 3. That's holding steady, and that's okay. So right now, a total staff of 38 compared to 25, with 15 team members cross-trained. That means that they can run the front desk and be a lifeguard, or be a lifeguard and teach swimming lessons, or do all 3.
I like that number. Are you striving to increase it still further?
We will, as much as our budget allows, yes.
I hear you.
So just some things that we've been able to do. We've been running several lifeguard classes. That helps too, to be able to get those lifeguards that we need. We've hosted 2 club meets, 3 high school meets. We finally replaced the river pump. So the lazy river has a pump that creates that current in it, and that was down for several months. I have a picture later that shows you. We upgraded the ADA doors that go to our all-user restrooms right off the lobby. The Special Olympics is using our pool space on the weekends to practice. We put a wrap on the front counter, which I'll show you in just a minute. And we fulfilled 60 of the 120 private swim lessons requests we have. Now you can say, well, that's only 50%. Last year, we were only able to fulfill like 20 of those. So we're chipping away at those requests. And then here's some pictures. On the left, you can see the gentleman. So that black thing that he's standing next to, that's almost as tall as he is, that is the pump for the river pump. So it's as big as that. And it is located in what we call one of the pits. So to move it, you have to bring it, you have to move it laterally. Then you have to bring it up vertically, then you have to move it laterally again to get it out of the building. And then you have to get the new pump in laterally, drop it down safely, and then move it laterally again into place. It was a major undertaking, and we're really glad it's there. And then over the years, we've been working on an upgrade on the lobby. We painted, we put new flooring, we got the new desk, repurposed the desk from the Bank of America building, and we finally put a wrap on it, and I think it looks really nice.
It does.
So much of that lobby work and the pump and so many of the other both visible and non-visible upgrades that you see at the Aquatic Center are in large part due to the fundraising efforts of our friends at the Dallas Aquatic Center. Yes.
Yes.
You hear from Ann every meeting, and really there is no truer friend to the Dallas Aquatic Center, so we're really grateful to them.
Well, since you brought that up, I was going to say this at the end, but I'll do it now. Ann keeps us really well informed about what it looks like from the volunteer side. So having this perspective to put with it is really, really helpful, really good report.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad you find it. So with that, any questions?
I do have one that goes back to when this was built. There was a plan to put a splash pad in on the west side, did it ever actually get reinstalled or not?
That's a question. I sort of have a splash pad like lurking around in the back of my head. You know, when we were thinking about forming the Parks and Recreation District, we did do a survey of our population about, you know, what recreation opportunities would they want that we don't currently now offer. And I expected the splash pad to really rise to the top. And at least in that survey, it didn't. But, you know, we have as a capital project, a new Parks Master Plan within the next 5 years. And I think that would be an interesting thing to, an interesting amenity to capture as part of that plan and think about where to put it. I don't know that around the Aquatic Center would necessarily be the best place.
It's supposed to be put on the west side of the, and it's do the underground stuff and then come back later and finish it as the budget allows. So I was thinking, well, is it in there or not in there?
I don't believe it is. I
Yeah,
don't
maybe got
believe
cut.
that there's any infrastructure for that currently in
Yeah,
place.
maybe I cut in the 11th hour just to keep the costs down.
I'm sorry,
It probably may have got cut out,
to keep the cost. Yeah,
but it was high on the list when we designed it. Yeah,
yeah,
of course, so was everything else.
indeed.
I've just got one comment on the budget. You're doing a great job. We're 1% under budget right now, year to date. I noticed that the overtime's almost, so probably has to do with hiring a lot more staffers, but
Thank you. And that, again, that's really to Gretchen's credit, yeah.
Splash pad survey, was that, I know they did it with the John Bernard Park, because they had looked at putting it over there. Was there another time that it was done? The survey was put out?
You're right, there was one, you're right, there was one that was done for John Bernard Park.
And it was very low.
Yes, and then we did another one when we were looking to form the Parks and Recreation District.
You said that.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Questions? I don't think there's any more questions.
Okay, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda is the library tour for the city council and staff.
And just for the record, the council will be touring the library. There will be no decisions. It's for informational purposes only, and there will be no decisions made, so.